Hello everyone, it's me again. I'm Maddie, the head of partner content at TTG, and I'm joined by two fantastic travel agents for our agent take, which is the TTG Riviera Fest session dedicated to matching client types to their perfect Riviera holiday. So huge welcome to Mags or Margaret McCarston from Hayes Travel and Marion
Hi.
Hassan, Travel Store Manager. So thank you both for
Hi.
joining. Great to have you.
Thanks for having us.
Anytime. So what's coming up in this session? We're going to share tips for identifying clients who will love a Riviera cruise or tour, as well as client matching advice, covering everything from solo travelers, families and groups, to those with different interests such as food, culture and adventure. As with previous sessions, if you've got any questions, please pop them in the chat and we will take them as they come. So a few questions beforehand before we get into that kind of client matching. What makes you both an expert on selling all things Riviera? Have you been selling the brand for a long time? Have you taken extensive training? Have you been on Riviera cruise or tour yourself? Marion, shall I come to you first?
Yeah. So I've been selling Riviera for years, been in travel for over 30 years now. Cruise more since I came to this store, River Cruise more. So maybe probably for about 10, 12 years. But lots of clients and lots of repeat clients now over the years. I think the brand itself has just built such a good name. Done lots of training over the years as well and had a few in-store events. And when you're doing the in-store events, it's quite good because I think the kind of products and the things when the reps from your company are in doing the chats with the clients, you get to learn a lot more and kind of pick up wee things that you may not have known before. I've not actually done a river cruise yet myself, but I'm doing my first one in June, and it is with yourselves. Yeah, I'm taking my mum away, so wee mother-daughter trip. Yeah, so something a wee bit different. So really looking forward to it. Yeah, that's me.
Fantastic. And Mags, what about you? What makes you an expert on all things Riviera?
I've been selling river cruises and been involved in river cruising for about 20 years, probably back in the day when I was with Barhead Travel, which was a great start. I haven't sailed with Riviera yet, but looking to do a lovely Christmas market cruise at the end of the year, which is a great opportunity for all your girly friends to get together and get off and do some shopping. That will be my first time sailing with Riviera. I've done a huge amount of river cruising before, but it'll be first time sailing with Riviera. I have experienced the ships at the Clear River events, so I've had a good look at the hardware and been able to compare it against its competitors, and it fares really well.
Amazing. Well, I hope you guys have incredible times on your cruises. It sounds like you will from previous sessions.
Yeah.
So we're talking about customers that you have that Riviera days. What would you say is Riviera's core demographic when it comes to these customers? For both cruise and touring, what types of client you're seeing come into store and ask about Riviera? Mag, shall I come back to you first?
Yeah, for Riviera cruising, it's probably about 55 plus. They're well travelled, looking for a lovely, good value, escorted river cruise. They probably enjoy city breaks, but don't want the hassle of having to prepare it all by themselves and their own itinerary, etc. They want taken by the hand and a lovely product. And again, similar for touring, it's similar demographic, although some of the tours would suit younger clients better. But again, someone that's looking for good value, mid-range price touring product that is everything taken care of. They're so good at putting their tours together. Been in business for so long. Yeah. That's what I would say.
Thanks. And Marion, would you agree? And what kind of budget would you see these clients have?
Yeah, I would 100% agree. I would also say it's for people looking not just for good value, but for something that's got everything included, so they're not constantly putting their hand in their pocket for things as well. With the tours being included, and now with the drinks packages included in the river cruises as well, it makes such a difference. Price-wise, I think average spend probably about 3,500. But we've had clients come in and got amazing deals for like £19.99 when the promotions are on, and I've booked clients personally anywhere up to £7,500 per person. So price range is quite wide, but obviously it's not the cheap end of the market. It is kind of a good range product, and the prices are good for what you're getting and what's involved. I think with having the tours and things like that and the tour guides, you've got the experience on board. And with it being more mature clients, they're looking for not just so much, I think, the product itself, but for people who can kind of guide them, and looking for people who are like minded as well. So sometimes I know our clients have come in and they've been sat at tables where they've met other couples and they've got to talking. And I think that's a big part of the experience.
Okay, great. And Mags, coming back to you, how do you know when a client is right for Riviera, either cruises or tours? Yeah, but what are the kind of key things that you're looking for when you're matching these clients?
Probably everything Marian's just mentioned. The fact that they are looking for everything taken care of, stress-free, start to finish, someone that will curate a lovely holiday for them. So very, very similar to what Marian's just said, in essence, without repeating.
No, that's perfect. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to client matching. Now, we know that Riviera recently launched themed cruises, which means that they've tailored those to different interests, one of which is food. Food is obviously a huge part of any holiday, especially with a Riviera cruise. So, Mags, which cruise would you recommend for a foodie couple, would you say? Tips.
It could be any of them, really, because river cruises in general will match where they are to the cuisine that they're serving you on board. So you'll get a great, if you're sailing through Hungary, you'll have goulash on the menu. They'll make sure that you're getting a flavour of the country you're in. But as you did mention, the new gastronomy cruises, they're amazing. One of them that I really fancy is the gastronomy of Switzerland and the Rhine. So it's a beautiful new 8-night cruise, and also gastronomy of the Seine. So you're most likely going to be travelling with like-minded people who are interested in food, so the conversation will be around food, and guest lecturers on board, etc. Will all be feeding into your love of food.
Fantastic, thank you. And Mariam, what about for Riviera tours? Are there any particular tours that you would recommend for foodie clients?
Again, I think the same thing. I think all of them are really suitable. I think in regards to the fact that the food is always kind of catered towards the local regions, it's local produce. I think that's a big part of it. The kind of sweet treats, the pairing wines. I think all of them. I think across the board, like with the river cruises, although obviously the new kind of sector of gastronomy side of things, but I think all of them are very catered to foodie clients. It's a big part of the one that I'm looking forward to going on to myself.
Fantastic. Sounds right up my street as well.
Yeah.
So moving on to kind of clients who love cities and cultures and really immersing themselves in these destinations. Mags, what would you recommend in the way of a tour for someone who loves these cities and cultures, and why would you recommend it?
Yeah, so Riviera have an extensive range of European city breaks. With the Italian itinerary is probably their most popular, especially for the culture vouchers. So much so that they've listened to the feedback from the clients who have been taking these tours, and they're now offering extensions on the tours, and they'll be known as grand tours. A good one is the Pompeii, Capri and the Bay of Naples 7-night tour that you can now turn into a grand tour by adding city breaks in pre-cruise, probably Rome. Another big city break now addition is Milan. So yeah, plenty, huge, extensive range.
No, thank you for sharing those classic examples. That's great. And Marion, coming back to you, thinking of clients with the same interests, so exploring cities, which cruises would you recommend? I mean, I know they're probably extensive, but
yeah, I think that's the thing. I think all of them. I think except probably for the Douro. The Douro's more obviously the scenic routes where it's kind of going along and seeing what's kind of the local towns rather than cities themselves. I think all the river cruises really focus on the cities, every one of them. And again, the same similar to the tours, you can add on the 3-night extensions. So at the Danube, you've got Budapest. For the Douro, you've got Porto. So every one of them's got their own unique place that you can either do the extension at the start or at the end, or both in some cases, meaning you can get the extra stay and it's a wee bit longer. So yeah, I would say it all except for the Douro, maybe.
Okay. Amazing, thanks. And sticking with cruises for the moment, so coming back to you, Mags. Talking now about customers who have a sense of adventure, want to get into the great outdoors, want to connect with those outdoor environments. What would be your suggestions for that type of cruiser and why?
Oh, for that, there's only one.
Okay.
The big one for me for a real adventurer, I would suggest to go further afield and take a journey in the Mekong. I've done it myself. It's absolutely fabulous. It's so immersive. They're usually 14 nights, in length with pre and post cruise stays, and you incorporate all the big hitters. A huge amount of excursions are included in these cruises, and they're well off the beaten track. Things you wouldn't think of doing yourself, allowing you to be fully immersed in the culture that you're visiting. Yeah, along with your anchor walks, etc., that everyone will do. But river cruises take you right into the heart of the Mekong and meet the locals, speak to the locals, and it's one not to miss. If you're an adventurer, it's one not to miss.
Absolutely. I have been,
Mm,
yeah, I have been to the
yeah,
Mekong myself, and it is a very special
oh,
destination. I know that.
fabulous.
Okay, so Marion, coming back to you, sticking with that same client type, what what would you offer or suggest for
Yeah,
those?
I think there's so many. I couldn't even count the amount of tours that are available just now. I'm just back. I did my first tour last year, which was India, and it was absolutely amazing. So I've got a kind of first-hand taste of what it's all about. Again, for the tours, I would say pretty much all of them. For the more adventurous, the one that I was looking at that really kind of caught my eye was the Grand Tour of Peru in the Amazon. I thought that just looked
Wow.
absolutely stunning. In every little section that you're reading, it's like reading a good book. It just pulls you right in, and you think, "Oh my god, I want to be there." But yeah, I mean, I think you could pick a dozen easily. But the one that caught my eye the most was the Grand Tour of Peru in the Amazon. I thought that just looked amazing.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, so moving on to a different type of clients, likely to have some multi-generational families come in and ask for Riviera tours or be suited to a Riviera tour. Um, so Max, coming back to you, what tour would you recommend for multi-generational families? Just to make sure there's something for everyone, everyone's kept happy throughout. What would be your suggestions?
I would recommend taking one of the signature tours. They're smaller in size, and if you're travelling as a multi-gen group, you may just qualify to have a bespoke one-to-one tour if you have enough, which would be amazing. But it's with extensive range, it is difficult to recommend one tour, as they all offer something that will hold everyone's attention. If I had to choose one, it would be Victoria Falls, Botswana Safari, and a Cape Town stay.
Wow,
Mainly because I love South Africa. It's an amazing country, and it would suit all ages. There is something for everyone in South Africa. Stunning.
fantastic, thank you. That does sound great. And Marion, coming back to you, um, what cruise would you recommend for the same client type with Riviera, and why?
Yeah, I was looking at more at the yacht cruises. So I thought the yacht cruise, something doing like the Jewels of Dalmatian coast, where you're sailing along the coast of Croatia, maximum I think 38 amount of passengers, and you've got a crew of 7 to really take care of you. So sometimes I've been told, I don't know if it's 100% true, but I've been told that sometimes if you've got a group of 4 or 5 couples, that it can just be the 4 or 5 couples on the cruise and nobody else because they don't always necessarily get filled up. So yeah, I thought the yacht cruise would be quite nice for the multi-generational family.
That sounds really special. Great for reconnecting, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of clients celebrate birthdays, anniversaries, honeymoons abroad. It's obviously a big reason to travel. Max, coming back to you, what cruise would you recommend for a special occasion such as one of those? Well, what's going to kind of elevate the holiday experience so that it makes it so memorable for something, a special occasion such as that?
Well, I was thinking along the same lines as Marion,
Mm-hmm.
and I chose the yacht cruises in
Okay, yeah.
Croatia. Uh, they're perfect. Only 40 passengers on board maximum, and most likely they won't have 40 on board. You'll feel that you're cruising that Dalmatian coast in your very own private yacht, and what could be more special than that? So that probably would be my first choice.
Mhm.
Or, as you say, the Mekong, something like the Mekong, which is very, very special. But first choice, if you were asking, would be the yachts.
Okay, fantastic, thank you. And Marion, how about tours for special occasions? I mean, again, massive broad scope, but what would be your recommendation?
I think for the tours, it'd be very, very much a personal choice. A lot of people, if it's for special occasions like anniversaries and stuff, it can be either bucket lists, but it can also be places they've already been, maybe for their honeymoons or things like that. So I think it is very, very personal. I think there's lots of bucket list ones there that you can do, but I think for birthdays, anniversaries, I think you would have to cater it to what the client was really kind of passionate about and where they really wanted to go and see. Any one of them would suit because the standard of them is so high and they do cater for everything. But again, I think for a personal thing, for a birthday or an anniversary, it would be sitting down with the client, sitting down with the brochure and just going through to see what really was special to them and what really kind of was going to make it a memorable trip for them.
Yeah, that's great too. You want to make sure you get it right for them,
Yeah,
special occasions, don't you?
definitely.
So next up on my list is solo travellers. Obviously, Riviera has a huge solo traveller client base.
Yeah.
So who am I coming to next? I'm coming to Matt. Back to you, Max. What tours would you recommend for someone who's travelling on their own?
Well, as you say, Riviera Travel have a full programme of escorted solo holidays, and the group size tends to be lower, roughly about 25 people max, which is comfortable for solo travellers. Best sellers are the Classical Spain and Classical Sicily tours. These are probably best for someone who's new to travelling solo and travelling alone. More adventurous, because we've a huge amount of adventurous solo travellers, so the more adventurous of them also catered for well and could join a fully escorted Best of Japan tour, or the big one, Marion's done the grand journey from India's Golden Triangle to Shimla. So that Golden Triangle is a stunning tour, something I've never done but would love to do. But yeah, so there's something for everyone with solo, and there's a full range of solo river cruise. There's a river cruise solo programme also, which again is a smaller group size, which is lovely and comfortable and would be beautiful and intimate for solo travellers. Yeah.
Amazing, thank you. So Marion, I'm going to ask you about those solo cruises now.
Yeah.
What would you recommend for a solo traveller? I mean, I know there's a big group of them, but what would be your suggestion?
Yeah, again, I think it would be more catered down towards the client. I mean, you guys, Riviera as a company, you've got, I'm just looking at some of them just now. So it's the Blue Danube, you've got Bruges, Medieval Flanders, rather, if I can speak properly. Burgundy, the River Rhone, and Provence, that's the one that I'm doing with my mum. So again, great for solo travellers. I think the good thing is there's a lot there on offer, and it's all the main rivers as well. So it's the ones that people actually want to go and see. But like that, because the way the dining and things like that are, nobody's going to be left. Don't get me wrong, if they want to spend time on their own, there's plenty of space on the boats to spend time on their own. But if they do want to mingle, they will be sat at a table for dinner and things like that with other people. So they're not going to feel excluded from things, which I think is a big thing for solo travellers, especially first time solo travellers. We've got quite a few clients who maybe the husband's passed away and the wife's now travelling, do tend to find females travelling more solo than males. Maybe that's just in our area, I don't know, or just circumstantial. But we've got several ladies now where their husbands have passed away, and I've booked 4 of them myself with Riviera. So I do think product wise, it does hit the nail on the head. It's really good for singles.
Fantastic.
Definitely.
Thank you. And looking at the other end of the scale, groups, larger groups, what should we start? What should we start with? Should we start with cruises or tours? Let's start with cruise and come back to you, Max. What cruises would you recommend for a big group, and why would you recommend it?
I would probably recommend the river cruises along the Danube and the Rhine in particular. These cruises give you access to some of the biggest and most vibrant cities in Europe. And as a group, you might want to go off and explore these cities of an evening. Your river cruise is going to be berthed fairly close to the city, if not right in the city centre, which again is the beauty of river cruising, and not travelling until the morning. So instead of casting off your lines at 5:30 in an ocean cruise, you can see these cities in the evening. So have dinner, jump off, and go as a group to enjoy cities like Bratislava, Budapest.
Mhm.
They're amazing in the evening. So
Fantastic.
probably anything along the Danube or the Rhine.
Fab. Great recommendation, thank you. And Marion, coming back to you, talking about tours, which tour would you recommend for groups?
Again, I think it's quite hard to recommend any one in particular because they're all really, really. I think tours more than anything are probably really suited towards groups. The signature tours are really good. I think it's got an average group of about 22. So if you've got a large group going away, then you could pretty much fill the whole group and have it as more a private tour rather than a group tour, as in with other people joining it. But I think all of the tours are so suited towards groups just because of what's included in them and what's involved when you're away.
Okay, great, thank you. So we've covered quite a few client types there, but are there any client types or interests that these clients might have that you feel pair well with Riviera Cruises and Tours that we haven't yet covered? Max, can I come back to you for that one first?
Probably specialist clubs, like the photography clubs. Cycling's a big one now for river cruising, because you can chase the boat, so to speak, from town to town. Probably huge amount of clubs, special interest clubs. It's historical. I've even seen knitting clubs going on board, and crafting clubs. So in any club that just wants to go away together, and have a great time.
Yeah.
And then, as a group, 1 and 8 go free. So, it could be very well worth it. Price wise gone.
That's
Yeah,
what I was going to hit on. Become the organizer, and you get a free trip.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, makes a
that's great.
difference.
Yeah, what
To
about
be
you,
fair,
Marion?
with a big group, there can be a lot of work in organising these things, so it'd be well worth it. I would agree. Just I think any specialist groups, any kind of group clubs like that, even like kind of we've got quite a lot of things locally, like tennis clubs, badminton clubs. There's the bridge and the golf clubs to do
Yeah.
bridge classes in there. So yeah, things like that I think are really good to market towards. But yeah, I just think it's open. I think for anybody, I think it's river cruises and touring. It's the way forward. It's what people are wanting to do. Anybody can do bucket and spades, but people are looking for things a wee bit different. I feel even more so after lockdown. They're
Yeah.
looking for more and more value for money and happy to spend that more. So the higher budget isn't a problem with a lot of people. But they do want value for money and they're getting that with all the products.
Okay, great. One client type that I did want to also talk about quickly was first time cruises. Obviously, that's a big market there in first time in new to cruise clients. Mags, which cruise would you recommend for someone who hasn't cruised before? Which Riviera product would you put forward for them? Do you reckon?
In any of the river cruises, they're fully escorted. So there's no real standout. Normally, someone will look at the Rhine as a first time cruise, followed by the Danube, and then they'll possibly eventually go further afield. But any of the European rivers are amazing. So it would be difficult to choose one in particular.
Okay, no problem. And I think I could probably squeeze just one more question in here. Marion, coming back to you. What cruises or tours would you recommend for a client who's eco-conscious and someone who wants to travel with a minimal carbon footprint and who possibly even wants to give back to local communities when they're in destination? Do you have any recommendations for that?
That's a hard one.
Sorry.
I know that's one to think about.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I think with a lot of the walking tours, you've got a lot of the walking discovery tours, where it is kind of, I don't know if it's so much eco-friendly, but obviously not as much travelling involved once you're there. It is going about local places. But I don't know. I think eco-friendly. I think a lot of the river tours as well, the river cruises rather, it is really, really focused. Everything in travel, as we know, is all focused on eco-friendly now, and it's all about the carbon footprint. So I think we all make a really, really conscious effort to focus on what we're doing. And even with waste and things, before your river cruises, like your ocean cruises, used to have so much waste, whereas so many things now are focused on being recycled and reused. So and cutting back on waste. So I think any of them.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Well, I think that's just about all we've got time for today. So thank you so much, Max and Marion, for sharing your insights. It's been really interesting to hear your suggestions for these different
Welcome.
client Riviera products. So thank you for your time. For everyone who's watching, we are going to move on to our next session now, which is Meet the Team, where you can see all of the Riviera trade team, get to know who they are, what they do, and how to contact them should you have any questions. And remember, this session will be available to watch on demand if you did want to recap or anything or share it with friends and colleagues. So thank you, everyone. We'll move on to the next session.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.